vehicle operated by a licensed authorized service provider and equipped for the transport and paramedical treatment of persons requiring medical attention. I am again stressing on this point that we are only concerned with road vehicles used as ambulance. Any vehicle or device which is used as medical ambulance for air purposes or water purposes is not part of this policy. So here, to be more specific, a road vehicle operated by a licensed authorized service provider and equipped for the transport and paramedical treatment of persons is covered under the ambulance category. Now the important aspect is family. Because the coverage is for the family. What does family means here? The family includes self, spouse, children, and parents. Everybody is important here. Family means the family that consists of the proposer and anyone or more of the family members like self, spouse, children, and parents. Here the children means unmarried children, stepchildren, legally adopted children who are financially dependent and aged up to 25 years. If they are more than 25 years, then they are self-dependent. They have to take a separate policy. They will not be treated as dependent children. But among the children, unmarried children could be there, stepchildren could be there, and even legally adopted children could be there. And parents of any age, no age limit is required. So this is very clear that the coverage is for the family, not for the proposer himself. And family means self, spouse, children, and parents. So the coverage here is wider one. And this policy is available on the family basis. So this is a big deal here. Now, what are the plans available? So two plans are there. Two plans are there only. But how the plans will work, that is important. Because these plans are not providing different coverage, they are providing different distance. An ambulance is concerned with traveling the distance, and distance could be from the place of occurrence to the nearest hospital, to the nearest nursing home, to the nearest clinic. So the plan 1 will provide the coverage up to 10 kilometers. 10 kilometers, the area which the ambulance can cover in any medical emergency for proposer or for any of his family members twice in a year. This plan 1 up to 10 kilometers is available for the family at a premium of rupees 875 only, plus 18% applicable GST is charged. That means including GST the total premium would be rupees 1033. I repeat, plan 1 means the ambulance can be hired to travel up to 10 kilometers distance by proposer or by any of his family member who is covered under the policy at a premium of rupees 875 plus 18% GST, that is total rupees 1033. So this is a very simple coverage of the plan. No perils, no exclusions, no deductions, no compulsory access, nothing is that. Simple plan.
Sir? Hello?
Yes.
Sir, if you are traveling more than beyond the 10 kilometer, if you are selected only for 875 plan, family plan.
Let me complete the second plan also.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So the plan 1 is okay, that is for 10 kilometers. The plan 2 is again as per the option of the insured. If the insured want, he can select the plan 2. This plan will cover the distance of 20 kilometers. 20 kilometers from the place of occurrence to any nearest hospital or nursing home or clinic or even the second hospital if required. If both are within the 20 kilometers, this would be called as one hiring, one claim. So up to 20 kilometers, insured can utilize the ambulance services for himself or for his any of the family members at a premium of rupees 1000 plus 18% GST applicable at the rate of 18%. So the total premium payable is 1180 only. Now you can understand this ambulance service for hospital assistance policy has only two plans. First plan is providing the coverage of 10 kilometers only, and the second is providing for 20 kilometers. Since in plan 1 the distance is lower, the premium is also lower, that is 875 only. In plan 2, the distance covered is little higher, that is you can call double, it is 20 kilometers. In that case, premium is not doubled. Premium is only 1000 rupees plus GST. But in both the above plans, the maximum payment payable under this policy is rupees 5000 only in one claim. This is an important aspect. Either the insured is taking plan 1 or is taking plan 2. The difference would be in the kilometers traveled. The difference would be in the premium payable. But there would be no difference in the maximum payment payable as claimed, because that is as per the limit of rupees 5000 only. So this limit is applicable to both the plans under the policy. Policy is very simple, there is no confusion at all. Only two plans are there, both plans relate to the distance. Both plans provide the coverage to the family. For both the plans, the maximum payable amount is rupees 5000. No technicality is there. No even clause is applicable. But of course, limitation of distance travel makes the major impact. That is 10 kilometers in plan 1 and 20 kilometers in plan 2. Now, what are the key conditions of this policy? Policy will pay only in the event of medical emergency, hence pre-planned service is not covered. Medical emergency means any kind of illness, sickness, injury, accident. Benefits can be utilized 2 times during the policy period for all the family members. Geographical area is anywhere in India. Any cost and expenses pertaining to the ambulance service over and above the scope of cover will have to be borne by the insured, because the maximum payable limit is 5,000 rupees only. But of course, there is a waiting period, and this waiting period is applicable only to the first policy. If at all there is an accident, no waiting period is applicable. In any of the health policies, in case of accident, no policy provides the waiting period. Accident means medical emergency. Prompt treatment is required. No policy condition can impose any condition of waiting period. So in accidental cases, no waiting period clause is applicable. But in normal illness or sickness, 30 days from the date of first policy, that is applicable from the inception of the policy. Inception means if I am taking the policy today, that is 23rd January 2024. So up to 23rd Feb, there would not be any claim, because 30 days waiting period is required. But this would apply only in case of illness. If at all there is an accident, I can file a claim. So from day one of the policy, the waiting period will commence. But the good part of this waiting period is, this is applicable on the first policy only. This is not applicable to renewal. No waiting period for illness and accident in case of renewal of the policy. Renewal is always after the expiry of the policy. There could be first renewal, second renewal, third renewal. No waiting period will apply. But when the policy is taken first time, only that time the waiting period will apply. And that too only in case of illness or sickness, not in case of accident. So this is absolutely simple, that this one and only clause of waiting period is applicable to the policy, but in very restricted sense. This is not applicable in accident. This is not applicable on renewals. This is applicable only in case of illness or sickness. So the other key conditions will apply as it is. Policy will pay only in case of medical emergency. Only 2 claims are payable. Geographical area is India. Any amount incurred by the insured or his family members over the limit of 5,000 will be borne by it. These are the key features of the policy. Now, how the premium will apply and how the claim calculation will work. Premium you have seen. For plan 1 it is 875 plus GST, that is 1033. For plan 2 it is 1000 plus GST, that is 11800. 1180. So this is part of premium. Coming to the claim. Now in claim a little complication is there. And that is based on the formula. That is calculated amount means actual bill amount upon actual kilometer run into kilometer opted. Since two plans are there, both are covering a different distance, the premium payable is different, claim amount limit is the same, but that will be calculated on the basis of the distance traveled. How it is? Try to understand. Say the first example. Plan is A. Maximum payable is 5,000. Kilometer opted is 10 kilometers. Ambulance was hired. Amount was paid as 4,000 because actual kilometers travelled were 8 kilometers. Now the plan 1 allow up to the 5,000. But since 4,000 were paid actually for travelling 8 kilometers, so the insurance company will reimburse 4,000. This is actual reimbursement. No confusion at all. Example 2. Plan selected is A. Limit is 5,000. Plan A permit 10 kilometers travel. Actual amount paid is 9,000 to the ambulance. Maybe looking to the emergency. And the distance travelled was only 7 kilometers. Means for travelling 7 kilometers, insured had to pay 9,000 to the ambulance provider. How much the insurance company will pay? Maximum limit is 5,000. So the insurance company will pay 5,000 only. Example 3. Plan selected is A. Maximum payable is 5,000. Kilometers opted are 10 kilometers only because the plan A covered only 10 kilometers. Ambulance was hired and 4,500 rupees were paid. But these 4,500 rupees were paid for travelling 11 kilometers. Because from the place of occurrence, the hospital was at 11 kilometers. Here, the formula will apply. For the simple reason, the plan A was opted and that is covering only 10 kilometers. Insured has travelled 11 kilometers. So for travelling 1 kilometer more, will deduct some amount out of the actual amount paid. Here the amount paid was only 4,500, which is within the maximum limit of 5,000 payable under the claim. But since the distance travelled is 1 kilometer higher, for that reason only there would be a slight deduction and the total payable amount would be 4,091. Let's see one more example. Same plan 1, same maximum payable limit of 5,000, same 10 kilometers are covered, but the actual amount paid is 11,000. and distance travelled was 12 kilometers. Now in column C and D you will find against the maximum payable limit of 5,000 the insured has to pay 11,000. Against the maximum kilometers provided under the plan A, insured has travelled 12 kilometers. But in this case, entire 5,000 rupees will be paid. Because the insured has already paid very high amount. So from that formula, even if we calculate for 10 kilometers, so payable amount comes to 9,167. But the policy provides coverage up to 5,000 only. So this amount of 5,000 rupees is payable as it is. So claim calculation is very simple. No any other kind of deduction is there. This will go, even in this case, say 3. If the insured has taken here the plan B, that is 20 kilometers, and he has travelled 11 kilometers, 15 kilometers, 18 kilometers, the entire amount would have been paid. No deduction. Similarly, in this case, suppose the insured has taken the plan B and he has paid 11,000. Still the maximum payable is 5,000. So there is no complication at all. Now the policy has key exclusion of air ambulance, water ambulance, because only the ambulance which are flying on the road are covered under the policy. Now how to claim if there is any loss? Insured has to intimate, loss means hiring of ambulance. Insured has to intimate on our claim help desk, numbers are given, toll-free numbers are there, 2 numbers are there, insured can choose anyone, insured can intimate by mail, insured can make a call, insured can inform over our website also, get a claim registered, and the company will ensure fast settlement of claim after submission of all the relevant documents. And relevant documents are nothing. Documentation of claims are not very important. 2 simple documents are required. There is no long list. In any case, within 7 days of being discharged from the hospital, insured has to inform the company and submit the necessary documents. And out of these, 2 documents are important. First, ambulance bill with ambulance registration number. This will certify an ambulance was hired. This will certify which ambulance was used. This will certify an ambulance was the requirement of medical emergency. This ambulance will follow the distance travelled according to the plan. This ambulance will follow the maximum payable amount according to the plan. So the ambulance bill with ambulance registration number is first documentary requirement. The second one is hospital emergency consultation slip. This document is required to establish whether actually there was a medical emergency. Because ambulance doesn't mean a taxi. You cannot hire an ambulance for travelling purposes. We cannot hire an ambulance for luxury purposes. Policy will pay if the ambulance is hired only for medical emergency. And that medical emergency will be supported by the hospital emergency consultation slip issued by the doctors or by the hospitals. That slip will confirm that this kind of hospital emergency consultation was must. So these two documents are must. This first document of bill will confirm how much kilometers have been traveled, how much amount have been paid, who has hired the medical emergency, what is the relationship with the insured, on what date it was required, and what place had been traveled. Because the important aspect is only from the place of occurrence to the nearest hospital. So this document is a sufficient proof. And the second proof is supported by the hospitals or the doctors. So that hospital emergency consultation slip will again provide and confirm that yes, this is a requirement to settle the claim. Now this is only a simple policy which is neither part of the motor insurance nor part of the health insurance. This is a separate policy called ambulance service for hospital assistance. Only two plans are there. Those two plans are dependent upon the distance, 10 kilometers and 20 kilometers. Plan is for the family, premium is for the family, 875 is for 10 kilometers, 1000 rupees for 20 kilometers. No policy deductible is there, only waiting period is required, and that waiting period is also not required for accident case. Waiting period is also not required for renewal of the policy. Only in case of first policy, 30 days waiting period will apply. So simple policy is there, very simple calculation, very simple policy, and the purpose is very specific. Now you have any questions, you may ask. Any doubts? Anybody?
Sir, there was 875 rupees plan.
Yes.
In this, if more than 10 kilometers we are